Get what we need.
And this is this week's Classic Classic.
Good afternoon. It's 1:30 on Thursday, March 22nd, and we're here, Jennifer Dodge and I are down here on Terrace Hall Avenue at the Burlington Terrace Hall Sewer Pumping Station. And what you're seeing behind you, if you want to pan to the left a little bit, Jennifer, what you're seeing behind you today is the single most important environmental issue in the town of Burlington today. As a result of 2 feet of snowpack over the winter, more than 2 feet, as well as now in the midst of a nor'easter dumping rain on Burlington, we're experiencing what's commonly known as surcharging. What you see here is 4 high-pressure pumps which are pumping raw sewage directly into the Vine Brook. We do that as a result of downstream pressure, which results in sewage flowing out of the pipes in Woburn and Winchester. This is likely to continue for the most of the part of today, if not into tomorrow, depending on the conditions if they continue to persist. The problem here, of course, is a number of different areas. This is raw sewage. It is treated to a degree by barrels of chlorine, which we would have shown you in an earlier shot. However, it is not strained for any solids or any other materials that are flowing in the sewage, in the effluent. The problem then, of course, is this entire region is flooded. So this sewage is, although it's being pumped directly into the Vine Brook, as you will see in other shots, has completely overrun its banks and is now covering all of the A and B Street area up to Middlesex Turnpike. So although we're dumping sewage, we're dumping it not into the Vine Brook, but directly into the neighborhoods. Across the street now from the Terrace Hall pumping station, you can hear the sounds of the high-pressure pumps in the background pumping the sewage into the brook. Now we're about 50 feet downstream of the pumping site, and if we can pan to the right, you'll see where that sewage is going. Certainly into the brook, but the brook has overflowed its banks as far as the eye can see here. You are looking all the way down to Middlesex Turnpike from this location, and all we can see is nothing but water. We're about a half mile downstream from the sewer pumping station, and we're following the course of the raw sewage that's being pumped into what we think is the brook. Well, if we can pan to the right, Jennifer, we can show you right here at the end of the Sun site what that brook looks like. More than just a little bit of a tributary going down to the Shawshene River. At this point, it's expanded its banks all the way down from the pumping station, again here at the end of the Sun site and on to Middlesex Turnpike. Despite this culvert being just placed in 1998, you can see that it still does not have enough capacity to take what is not necessarily a very big storm. This is certainly not a 100-year storm. It is obviously impacted by the snowpack, but again, the object of this program is to illustrate what for us is an environmental problem of significant magnitude. here on the junction of Crowley and Garrity Road, and what you can see behind me is a rather a new issue for the town of Burlington. Although we've had surcharging in the past, it hasn't been so strong downstream as to create this problem. And this problem, as you can see, is raw sewage and infiltrated water coming directly up from the manhole in the street. The worst manifestation, of course, is that the houses in this area, in this low-lying area, are experiencing sewage coming directly out of their washing machine connections and what have you in their cellars. So these people are experiencing 12, 14 inches of this type of effluent being deposited in their cellar. Again, another indication of just how serious a problem this has been in Burlington. Hi, we're back in the relative safety of the studio. What you saw out there today is not an isolated incident. It is happening all over town, and while it continues to rain, it is likely to worsen before it gets better. This is, according to the DPW, at 2 p.m., roughly 2 p.m., there were over 200 calls already to the DPW relative to water and sewage back up into homes. This is the worst occurrence of its type in the history of, that I can remember being here since 1955. For some people in their homes, this is going to be a homeowner disaster with upwards of a foot, 2 feet of sewage in their cellars. Is this a surprise? Actually, no, it's not. We've been discussing this for years, the problems associated with sewage. We began surcharging roughly in 1985, and it has been going off and on over a number of years. We had a period during the early 90s where we were essentially free of it for 4 or 5 years, but a number of things have contributed to it in recent years. Obviously, the amount of building that has gone on. In addition, those things that haven't occurred downstream from us. When the problem first began occurring in Burlington, it manifested itself in Woburn, in that when the line was fully filled down to the Deer Island pumping station, the Deer Island sewer treatment plant, when that line became full and pressurized, manholes began popping up in Winchester and Woburn. Burlington helped their neighbors by alleviating that pressure by pumping the sewage directly into the Vine Brook. Once that occurrence began, Burlington then embarked on a very aggressive program in how we might eliminate excess water that was going into the sewer system. That program was called I&I, inflow and infiltration. Inflow is the illegal hookup of various types of sump pumps and catch basins in office parks and things of that sort into sanitary sewer. That, of course, is illegal. The town attacked that by a camera program, smoke and dye testing, and was very successful in eliminating a lot of that. Infiltration, however, is another issue altogether. That's when you have breaks in the integrity of the sewer line and openings in the sewer caps, the manhole covers, which allows surface water or subterranean water to infiltrate into the system. Again, the town was very aggressive, spending several $1 million over the years to alleviate that problem and reducing upwards of 6 or 8 million gallons of sewage, of water from the system. However, since that period of time, obviously, both in Burlington and downstream, there's been a tremendous amount of growth, putting more and more effluent into the system. So where we might be surcharging at, say, the 12 or 13 million gallon level in 1985, we began to surcharge at the 10 million gallon level, and I think when all things are factored into the system today, we will find that we surcharge somewhere in the order of the 7 million gallon level. The problem with this is that our normal gallonage is somewhere around 5 million gallons. So now it does not take a large amount of excess water in to create a problem. Now, what are the solutions? Well, the solutions involve a variety of different players in this. Although the region has been aggressive in discussing ways of growing the economy and building out parcels, and not just in Burlington, and in the other areas as well as this constant harping on the crisis and the need to produce more housing. Not as much attention, obviously, has been paid to the idea of how do we dispose of the effluent created by this development. So what has happened downstream? Well, not very much. Winchester and Woburn have not embarked on anywhere near as aggressive an I&I program as Burlington has, and subsequently they have millions and millions of gallons that need to be removed from the system. In addition, one of the main solutions to the problem is called the Cummingsville connector, which is a connector which is restricted in the size of its flow and is located down in Winchester. Now, there's been a number of approvals and monies appropriated by the MWRA to alleviate this problem by reconstructing that connector. That was blocked by Winchester in a suit and subsequently was won by the MWRA, and yet it still has not been constructed. They're still holding out. The sources tell me, the MWRA, that Winchester is holding out for a financial settlement to have their I&I paid for by MWRA. I can only allude to a source there and only have one source. I have not verified that at this point. But it continues to be an ongoing problem, which has not been relieved by new construction. In addition, unfortunately, the state agency that has been involved in this and is responsible for environmental quality, the DEP, has not been anywhere aggressive enough in terms of solving this problem. Burlington and Woburn are under administrative orders to reduce by a factor of 10 to 1 the amount of sewage that we put into the system, but obviously this is a flawed policy because the problem continues to persist and now today has probably occurred in its worst fashion ever. In addition, and speaking to the EPA today, Massachusetts, as well as the rest of the nation, are governed by what's called the Clean Water Act. The Clean Water Act specifically prohibits the disposal or pumping of effluent or any other type of contaminants directly into tributaries in the United States without a permit from the Environmental Protection Agency. The tributary that we looked at today is the Vine Brook. The Vine Brook, several miles downstream, empties directly into the Shawsheen River. The Shawsheen River is significant to us because the intake for the reservoir is directly downstream from where the Vine Brook tributary enters into the Shawsheen River. Now, officials at both the state and local level will tell you that, well, we shouldn't worry about that because we don't open up the intake for the reservoir while this surcharge problem is going on. Well, I would submit to you that that is of little consolation to any of us when you see and witness what we witnessed today, when you see toilet paper and all other sorts of effluent material, which is being discharged directly into the Vine Brook. That remains on the banks, remains in the local area for long periods of time, long after this experience will end. So it's of little consequence. This problem must be solved. The EPA has not issued any kind of a permit to the town or to the state to allow this to continue to happen. In discussions with them today, I indicated that I would be filing a complaint as a result of the violation of the U.S. Clean Water Act. It'll be interesting to see what, if any, action the EPA takes in this matter. But in any event, that leads me to the conclusion here. This is a regional problem, and it's a regional problem of significant magnitude, and you only need see effluent pouring into your basement for you to understand just how serious a problem it is. It'll be interesting to see how the state agencies and the EPA and indeed town officials react to what is not a 100-year storm. Granted, it has been a serious storm, 3.5 inches or so, and in conjunction with the large amount of snowpack that was on the ground, that certainly contributed to the severity of the situation. But we live in New England. This is not going to be the last time that this happens, and it's likely to happen to even a greater degree if we have some sort of a large-scale hurricane with very heavy rains, which we haven't seen in recent years. So this is not a one-time event. This is the most severe occurrence that we've had. It's going to happen again, and it's time that the state, the federal government, and local officials make this the #1 priority in the town of Burlington. Thank you for joining us.
To change the world, you don't have to be rich or famous or play ball or lead countries. All you have to do is tell your family you want to be an organ donor. Talk to your family about organ donation. Talk to your family about donating life.
When you buy disposable products for your home, you're really saying, it's okay to deplete natural resources. So when they tell you to buy stuff that's reusable, you tell them you'd rather throw it all away. Buy smart, waste less, save more.
Hi, my name is Jim Durgan. I'm the pastor at Fellowship Bible Church here in Burlington.
And hi, my name is Kelly Barrett. I'm the Executive Director for Longmeadow Place Assisted Living right here in Burlington as well.
And we're here today to tell you about the Project Assist Food Drive, sponsored by the Burlington Business Roundtable. This is the 6th year of its existence, and really we want to try to really fill the shelves at the People Helping People food pantry here in Burlington. You know, it's after the holidays, and the supply begins to dwindle this time. And so we really want to excite the people here in town to really get behind the food pantry and help to meet the needs of those who are really struggling to make ends meet here in town.
That's right, Jim. And this year, the dates for our food drive are March 23rd, and it runs right through April 5th. And again, you know, we're really reaching out. We're hoping that we can get the support of not only the private sector, but the businesses in town as well. And we're really focusing towards the businesses to give a monetary donation. The People Helping People folks really appreciate monetary donations because it really allows them to purchase what food they need when they need it so they can extend the shelf life of that food. So if you're able to, we'd really appreciate it. Any monetary donations should be made out to People Helping People and sent to the Burlington Business Roundtable on 1 Mountain Road right here in Burlington.
And that's right. And those of you who want to give non-perishable food items, there are going to be several drop-off places here in town where you can take those food items and they'll be graciously received. Those places would be Longmeadow Place on Mall Road, and also Fellowship Bible Church on Center Street, and also Cambridge Savings Bank on Cambridge Street. So we invite you to come and bring your donations there. And hopefully, as time goes on, there will be other drop boxes located throughout town, places where you can also drop off those food items.
We've had great support in the past from the schools, other local churches in town, so we're really hoping that they'll be involved this year as well. We're hoping to meet our goal. Last year was $5,000, right, Jim?
That's right.
I'm really hoping that we'll be able to meet or beat that this year, so we thank you.
And really, the only way that is going to happen is if all of the people in town get behind this thing. We'd love to have that place stocked, and giving them the flexibility with those monetary donations to be able to meet whatever needs they have, to be able to get food that is going to really meet each need as it arises. And believe me, there are a lot of people who can benefit greatly from this endeavor. So we just ask you to give as generously as you can, and we'll just rejoice in what's being done here in town for the people that have a need.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Bob Hogan. I'm Burlington's Director of Veteran Services, and I want to pass on a message to everyone. This past week, I have been receiving a number of phone calls from veterans who have been receiving telephone solicitations with the name veterans in it, or Vietnam veterans in it, asking people to donate money to a cause, tape an envelope to your front door and someone will come by and get it. I just want to alert people that this is not the best way for fundraisers to do business, and I would caution anybody from putting money in an envelope and sending it to someone who you don't know who they are and where the money's actually going. There have been a couple of instances recently where the term veteran has been used in a fundraising event, and those companies have been closed down for illegal solicitations. Many of you heard about the Veterans Scholarship Fund, where if you donate an automobile, they sold the car, they took the money and gave it to the children of veterans for college education. Well, no veterans' children ever got any of that, and the Attorney General shut those down. So those of you who look to donate cars, don't expect to be able to find that group around anymore. Also, there was a group out of Texas that was soliciting for hospitalized veterans, and a lot of people donated hundreds of thousands of dollars, and no hospitalized veterans ever got any benefits from them. So if you're receiving any telephone solicitations, please don't give money to anybody you don't know. If you would like to know who to donate money to in order to help veterans, please call my office at 270-1959, and I will be glad to give you the name or names of different organizations that are reputable, that are local, and that help veterans. Another thing is, sometimes they get very sophisticated, and the mailings look very official and very professional, and yet they are no more than a solicitation to get your money. You don't know, even though they say they're an official national organization that are there to fight for you, you don't know really where this money goes. At a recent conference with the Attorney General's office, there are a lot of levels where the money gets spread out and very little goes to the actual people who you think you're giving your money to. So again, please be very careful with telephone or mail solicitations, sending money to places that you just don't know who they are. Call my office, call anybody, call your church, call the local fire department, the local police department. Ask them if they have organizations that you would like to donate to, because there are plenty of people locally who you can help out. Thank you very much.